Welcome back to Area Diesel Services. Corey back up here again. We have a kind of a unique scenario happening here. I have this DPA pump in from Tom at Scratch Fab. Unbeknownst to us and unbeknownst to you, this is not his pump. We have done this pump many months ago and thus realized that we don't have this footage, so here I am. This is a very good representation of what he has. This is what I would consider a Ford pump. Guaranteed his is off a New Holland, let me see here, a New Holland LX885 skid steer.
I got a t-shirt on here that says, "That's a terrible idea, when do we start?" Well, this project and this terrible idea has already started. I am buying two partially rebuilt skid steers. This has got the engine out. It's all ready to go. Just needs a little touch up. Eli's got this one done. He guarantees this will start on the first turn, right?
Yeah, first turn.
First turn.
It's gonna go.
Yeah.
We'll drive it right
Not
on the
a chance. We're not driving that one anywhere. It needs some work, but it's pretty much ready to go. And then parts. Yeah, we've got lots of parts here that you can see. Not really sure where they go, but we'll figure it out. I'm just going to move the trailer over so that I can take the forklift and then pick these up and move them where I want them. To find a home for all this loose stuff. Nope, that's flowing. That's all rust. This was a long process and a lot of troubleshooting to get to the point where I'm pulling the pump. Overall, the work wasn't really hard. It was just really time consuming to go through all of the steps to know that pulling this pump was actually the right solution. So I'm glad I went through the steps. I'm glad I've got it off. And now it's time to get it off to Area Diesel.
This is just a really good representation. This is probably around about what his looked like. Has a side mounted return. His had another plug here, but that's just a plug. Has the 3-bolt round hub on the front here. So you're gonna watch me tear it down. He got some fuel to move, but he never could get his engine to start. So that's why he sent us the pump and the injectors. And you will see me go through it, and we will head that way now. Hey everybody, Corey here. Got this DPA pump, what I would consider a Ford pump, and I think it's kind of along that lines. From my breakdown, it said it's off a New Holland skid steer, so in the same family, but a little bit different. Doesn't go on a Ford tractor, let's put it that way. It does spin. Whenever it came in here, this solenoid was out. It was in a bag. And it had this solenoid also in the bag, which this is a aftermarket Chinese solenoid. So we'll see how well it lasts, but we'll try it regardless. One thing that's weird is this top cover is really skewed to one side. It's not on there straight. And this fitting here is smashed. So I'm gonna try and find fitting for this, but I don't know if I'm gonna have one. Hopefully I got one of those. If not, he'll have to try and find one himself. And I don't know what it is, whether there's an Amazon special, but I've been seeing more and more of these pumps that come in with these rubber stops in here. I mean, little big guys. I don't know why, I don't know what you guys are searching to find these things. I'm gonna get this capped up, cut the wires off of it, and we'll get it washed and blasted, and we'll start ripping it down. This housing is a little bit different than like a normal Ford housing because it I can't remember if normal Ford pumps have this fitting in the top. I don't think they do. No, normally they have a hole in the side, so that's a little unusual, and it has this hole here, which is unusual, but it's probably because this is on a New Holland skid steer rather than an older Ford tractor. So that would be my guess. Okay. Well, let me rip the tag off. Okay, well, I'm gonna go plug this up out there in the teardown room, and I'll get it cleaned up, and then I will be back. Okay, I got it all cleaned up here. Well, the best I can. I'm hoping that this housing isn't screwed up with how tweaked this top cover is, but we'll see. Hopefully I'll get lucky and it'll come out fine. Apparently, you guys think I know what I'm doing whenever it comes to DPAs, because I've been getting way more DPAs than what I used to, which is fine. And they put a gasket, put a Loctite on this or something. That should not be this tight. Yeah. Put some kind of sealant on it. Don't really know why. If it was leaking, then you could have just replaced the gasket. This fitting here actually has a check ball in it, which it moves, so that's really all I care about with it. This should just be loose. Hopefully this thing isn't full of fuel. Yeah, and I don't know if you can tell that, but right here it's been smashed, which I would assume probably happened in shipping. There's also a check ball in this fitting as well, which it don't look too bad, honestly. Sometimes this little plate in here gets loose. Well, I'd say that one there is fine. Needs cleaned out, but I think we'll see. We'll see what happens whenever I pull it out of the sonic cleaner. There's a little bit of fuel in here, nothing too crazy though. Nothing too crazy. That wasn't in there very tight. This one here, since it has a steel plate in this, I might upgrade these blades to the metal blades. Especially since it has an adjustable transfer pressure. Because some of them that are just run off the plugs are a little bit more of a pain if you switch them out to the metal blades. The liner has a little spot in it. I might be able to get that out of it. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Might come out, might not. don't know why that thing, it almost looks like it got hit. Okay, as in hole number 7, what does our tag say? Our tag says number 7. Okay, so that matches, so that's good. It's really not too dirty in here, thankfully. Shut off bar. O-rings are definitely worn out. They're not like super hard yet, but they're definitely getting to that point. Luckily, I think I should be able to get this thing turned around in one day, since it's not super dirty. It all just depends on how well it runs later. I'll get that off later. Metering valve don't look bad. It's definitely reusable. I want to say he got this thing running, but then it stopped on him and he couldn't get it to restart after that. If I remember right from what Kurt told me. My brain only holds so much. That's a little nasty, but that's nothing terrible. It'll clean up. I'll worry about that gasket later. Came right out, so that's good. There we go, that slid right out. This is what I would consider a newer style head because it has a big O-ring here. All the big O-ring heads are the newer styles. Not that there's really any difference between them. I think that's about the only thing they changed. So far, I really haven't found a whole lot wrong with it. I mean, it's cleaned up a little bit, but it's not terrible. Cam don't look terrible. This is a little sticky. Yeah, okay, that came apart. Easy enough. I don't know if I've ever done a 4-roller DPA before. I can't exactly remember. There's not a whole lot different between them. The main difference is just these fuel plates. On these 4-roller plates, I don't know if you can see it. Yep. So it has these 2 little notches right here, 1 and 2. So that would be 2 smalls. And that basically is the fuel code. So on some of them you have 2 smalls. Some of them you might have just 1 small. Some of them you'll have 1 small and 1 big. Other ones you'll have just a big, you know, in any combination, and that determines how much fuel it's going to be able to make. If you turn it up and you're still not making enough fuel, then you have to go to a different coded fuel plate. Is an easy enough explanation. Rollers look good. Rollers and shoes. And also with these fuel plates, so there's a top and a bottom. So there's the other fuel plates right here. And this also has 2 smalls. So basically the code is 2 smalls and 2 smalls. But you can go basically 1 up or 1 down. So we could go like 2 smalls and 1 small, or we could go 2 smalls and like a big. Yeah, I mean, really, that little bit of stickage might have been causing an issue of why it wasn't quite wanting to run right, but I mean, overall, it really hasn't been that bad. If it was me, I would have suspected this to still be running. Let's put it that way. Well, that there is loose. And maybe his solenoid did die on him. I don't really know. Normally those solenoids stay good. But I mean, anything can fail. So we will see. Big screwdriver. Thing there almost looks like it's sticking out a little too far as well. I might try and pull that out and reset it. Got my O-ring off here. That O-ring there just holds all this together. That's really all it does. Get my weights out of here. The weights are kind of worn out. I haven't been having super good luck with my weights recently. So this style here has 4 cushions in here, which is nothing too crazy, but we'll replace those. Normally I replace them every single time on this style of weight cage, so nothing too crazy there. Yeah, these weights are just kind of on the edge. Yeah, I'm not too fond of them. They're starting to get some wear. You can see that shiny spot right there on the end of the heel. And it's just starting to creep up. Once they creep up the edge here, then they're pretty well bad. So I'll probably have to order those in. Yeah, that weight cage is getting there too, so probably won't get this thing done today. I think that's where I'm going to end it for right now. Didn't really find anything too major. It's still, I mean, I'm surprised it didn't run for him. Like I said, unless that solenoid is bad, I haven't checked it yet, so. But overall, not in terrible shape. Needs cleaned up a little bit. And, you know, really the weights are starting to get to that point where I'm not going to reuse them. But other than that, nothing too crazy. So I'll get it cleaned up. And you guys will see me again once I get my parts in. So that'll be it for today. Back at it here. Got all my parts in. So we will start throwing this stuff back together. We'll just kind of start. I'll put this seal in. Got my new weight cage here, and we got my new weights. I ordered a new side cover, just liner blades, normal stuff there. This fitting here was kind of mangled, which I know I showed that on the teardown part. I'm pretty sure we have one of those ordered. I don't know if that one showed up yet, but I can at least build it and run it and do all that fun stuff. So this particular style has the centerpiece, and I have 4 cushions, which the cushions I believe just act as like a vibration damper basically. Technically it doesn't really matter which way this goes, whether you flip it around or keep it the way it came in. You just have to line up this tab here with the tab that's on the inside. So now we will put our new weights in here. I don't know if I've ever done a style like this on the video. I don't believe I have. I really don't see this style very much, honestly. Okay, all that there is good. So now you gotta flip it over and hold it all together. You gotta slip this drive shaft through there. Best you can. Sometimes they just slip right in, and other times you gotta fight with them a little bit. Come on. There it went. Okay. So now that drive shaft is through the hole, now I just gotta put my O-ring on that, which is kind of like a retention O-ring. It holds everything together, but it does actually seal too. Got my little sleeve here. That O-ring is stiff, so definitely helps having a sleeve. This thing here is flipped upside down. There we go. Oh, got a little excessive on the Loctite. Stuff comes out a lot quicker than my other Loctite does. So, grease. Put some lubage on here. Stick this through the housing. Now, put your bolt through there. Line all this up. Tighten this down, then we'll torque it in. And I got another tool for that. I'm pretty sure I know I've shown this before. So that part goes in the drive shaft, and then the bit goes through there. There, perfect. Yeah, okay. Got that torqued down. Now this is, I believe, a clockwise pump. Yes, it is. Put my clip in here. These are kind of directional, so okay. Technically, the round part is supposed to point towards the flat part whenever it's in the direction of rotation. Got my cam ring here, which I did not replace it. It looks fine. Got to put it in the correct way. Now we got our cam screw, adapter. That's torqued down. Sometimes they get a little tight and you just gotta tap them loose. So that's good. That's going in direction of rotation, which is clockwise. Put Put that towards the top. I will put a little bit of grease in here. Okay, so this is a 3-cylinder? Yes, 3-cylinder. So that means I have to phase the end of the rotor to the rotor, I guess. Also, I gotta put in my plungers still. I've always found that on these 4-plunger DPAs, that the long plungers, because there's 2 long plungers and 2 short plungers, I've always found that the long ones go in line with your discharge port. Whether it really actually matters which one they go in, I don't really know that, but that's how they always come out, so that's how I always put them back in. Make sure my rollers are free. So that one has a spot on it. Still has a spot somewhere. Yeah, that should, yep, that'll work. Okay. And these have to go in a certain way. They're real easy to flip around if you're not paying attention. That one there is fine. And if you put them in backwards, basically, then they don't go out as far and you don't make as much fuel. That one there should be fine. That one there. Let's hit that one a little bit. Still not perfect. That's better. Okay. All those are in. Gotta put my little fuel plate pins in. Now we gotta put our fuel plate on. Gotta go this way. All my roller and my shoes look good. All that looks good. Okay, so now is when we got to phase this rotor, which I know for a fact that I have shown this before. So I have to put it in the right cylinder hole, line up my rotor. So now that is stuck. Now we gotta see if this is going to line up. Yeah, actually it should be perfect. Once I torque it in. Yep. Yeah, that's perfect. So basically what I was told is that you're basically aligning the rotor, the vanes in the rotor with your discharge port basically. So that way the pulsing of the transfer pump doesn't interfere basically with the delivery. So that's why you have to do this. I know sometimes I found it does make a difference if it's too far off, especially at like higher speeds. So it is definitely a good thing to at least check it. Spins nice and free. This one takes the big head O-ring. Let's see. That maybe made a mark, maybe didn't. I try and scribe that fuel plate just that way I can see, if I have to adjust, I can see how far I've moved it, but it's not really necessary. Line everything up here. Stick it in. There we go. Slid in perfectly. Now this one does have a solenoid. However, it's at the bottom. So if the solenoid was at the top, then I have to read my transfer pressure out of the top. But since it's out of the bottom, I still read my transfer pressure out of the head bolt. I don't know why it makes any difference. It's just it's what I was told, so I've never really tried to read my transfer pressure out of there if it's on the bottom. I'm sure it would work, but who knows. So we'll put our head bolts in now. So since I had to read my transfer pressure out of that one, I'm going to leave it loose for right now. I'll still need it from the test room because I have to have that in order to test my solenoid. Otherwise my solenoid won't work right. So this bottom advance bolt, I think that it's sticking out too far. So I'm going to try and take it out and reseat it because that just looks like it's sticking out too far to me. If it sticks out too far, then it'll interfere with that. Guaranteed it was working before, but I try and make things better than what they were. So I put that nut on there first. Put that nut on there. Oh yeah, came right out. And sometimes I have found that these studs do work loose. So it's not necessarily a bad thing for me to be doing this anyway, since it was sticking out. Let's pull it out, clean it up, stick it back in, and yeah. I would imagine that they might have had a little too much Loctite on it, and that might be why it didn't go down far enough. Or that might just be as far as it goes, but I'm gonna clean this up real quick and then we'll stick it back in. Okay, buff the Loctite off of it. I have some new Loctite here. I'm gonna put on this. It almost looks like they maybe didn't cut the threads quite tall enough, but we'll see. We'll see if it goes down any further or not. If it don't, it don't. If it does, it does. I at least wanted to try. Nope, that's as far as it goes. I maybe got it a little further in, but I don't really think so actually. I think they just didn't quite cut those threads deep enough from the factory, but it'll be fine. I at least just made sure that it was in all the way. Let's put it that way. So with that being said, we will build this advance. Stick it on there. I like to bend these gaskets a little bit just so they lay better on the advance block. Put the piston in the right way, that is important. Stick the block on there. This head bolt does not take a check ball, so it just needs 2 O-rings. Luckily this pump was fairly clean to begin with, so it shouldn't take me that long to build it up. Now we gotta torque everything down. Bottom bolt here just gets tightened. It doesn't have to be torqued. I'm sure there's a torque spec on it, but it's not necessary. Advance is free. Straighten that a little bit. Got our plugs here. Advance springs. Another plug. Got our shims here. Kind of surprised it has that many shims in it, since it's a transfer pressure adjust type advance. Okay, so it says minimum piston spring cap shim thickness is 3 millimeters. That's probably pretty close. No. Yep, that's just a scotch over 3, so okay. We're rolling with it. I mean, that's what came out of it, so at least I know it is according to spec. Let's put it that way. Now we can put our solenoid in. I still don't really like this solenoid, but it is what it is. It'll either work or it won't. Just looks very cheap to me. Got me one of our reman liners, which it looks good. Stick it in. Our metal blades. Get it in there. Put some calibration fluid in there. Put our O-ring in there. This is like a newer style end plate basically because it has a steel insert. You know, most of these DPA end plates are just straight aluminum. So this one is actually a little bit nicer. I just put the grease there to hold that plate in. Torque this down. And hope that it spins. Here's a moment of truth. Oh yeah, smooth as silk. Okay, so that's good. Finished building up our transfer pump here. Make sure my piston is free here. Yep, free enough. Our gasket on the bottom. Let's put a little bit of grease there to hold the piston for now. Stick that in. Got our new filter. Maybe. There we go. This is my adjuster here. So this will actually what adjusts the transfer pressure. So you basically just screw it in or out to go up or down, and it presses on that other spring in there. I like those adjusters over the other ones that are just basically plugs. A step plug. These are a lot easier to deal with on the stand. So we're getting real close here. This is his original metering valve. I did not replace it because it still looks fine. That all moves freely. Yeah, and I remember now that that top cover was really crooked on here, so hopefully I won't have to deal with that too bad. Can't really say those are bent any. Went in straight. Okay. It's all tight. Before we get too crazy here, I'm going to see if this fits. Yeah, see, that's perfect. So I would imagine at some point it probably got hit or something to make it so skewed. But yeah, I mean, that fit on there perfectly. Now I can bend up these bend tabs. Now we can put our O-rings on our throttle shafts and our shutoff shaft. One O-ring. Okay, so that's good. These shafts look pretty good too. They look pretty new. They're not worn out up here at the top. So that's a good thing. Same with that one. That one there looks good too. That looks good. One thing I'm going to do as well is check my linkage gap. So I need 54 millimeters. Let's see where. Try not to block the camera view too much. We are a little long. Yep. So we'll tighten that up a little bit. So basically if this length is wrong by too much, then your governor won't work right, basically. So if it's too long, it won't want to shut off at the top end. So that's why I generally try and check it. Yeah, this one here is real long. I like to be a little bit under spec. Yeah, that there is perfect. About a couple tenths of a millimeter under. That's what I found generally works pretty good. So now that's all good. Nice and free. Put our top cover on. Well, I gotta put some gasket. Put this stuff on there first. There's a gasket. Those are 2 gaskets that we're gonna need. There we go. That'll be good enough. Put this in the right spring code. This one needed hole number 7. A shut-off bar in here. So that actually that makes your metering valve go to shut off. Top cover looks good. Perfect. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Looks a lot straighter than what it was whenever it first came in. Throttle lever on. Washer. This style is kind of a pain sometimes to get it lined up perfectly. There we go. That feels good. This one actually has a return spring, which isn't entirely uncommon. Throwing the washers around. I do kind of like working in here in my little YouTube room. It's nice and peaceful and quiet. Okay, that looks good. Everything seems to be operating correctly. This here is just a plug that goes in the top cover. A lot of times there'd be a bleeder there, but this one doesn't have it because it has that vent there. Which, oh, there it is right there. Thought I lost it for a second. This is like it's kind of like a check ball fitting, which actually, now that I think about it, it's interesting. Anyways, basically I just shake it to make sure that the check ball is free. I'm kind of wondering if that was wrong. We'll see once we get it on the stand. Side cover on here, and then that'll be it. Well, I got stamp it, but I don't have my stamps in here. I can wait till later. Okay, well, that's pretty well it. I'll have to plug this hole in the housing on the stand so it doesn't leak everywhere, but that's no big deal. So we are basically ready for the test stand. Okay, got everything put on here. I had to change my lines, had to switch my injectors around, had to change out my drives. I did fire it up, it does run, it is warmed up, so it's ready to test. Everything, I mean, seems to be working. I don't really know if it's in spec or not, but we'll see. Hopefully it'll breeze right through because I'm trying to get this thing done. Transfer pressure is good. Check our advanced here. Good. Advance works good. That's all in spec. And basically, I adjusted my advance with my transfer pressure. So the more transfer pressure you make, the more advance you get, vice versa. So I was getting too much advance before. I turned my transfer pressure down until it was in spec. Rechecked my transfer pressure according to my spec here, and it was in spec. So far, all that is working good. See what our fuel makes, which it has been doing good. Yeah, so that's fine. I can live with all that. High idled a little low, which that can be contributed to the fact that I shortened that linkage gap. So the more you shrink that, the quicker it's going to shut off. Okay, so my governor was working just as it should have. My response was good between high idle and full load. Sometimes if you don't have it set right, it won't come back quick enough for your fuel. And I only had to back that out a little bit, so that was fine. Let's see, what are we making for cranking? So, I need 4. Yeah. We're basically right there for cranking. The cranking is a little, it's just making spec, so I wish it would have been a little bit higher, but it is technically fine still. Shut off. That looks perfect. Okay, so now I have to put that plug back in, or the head bolt basically, because otherwise, like I said before, my solenoid won't shut off if this ain't it. So okay, so now that, yeah, it shuts off really good. Yeah, that solenoid works good, so we'll see how long it lasts for him, but as of right now, it works good. Well, we basically just got our low idle delivery, and then that'll be it. Too low. This does not surprise me. Okay, well, that's pretty well it. I don't see any leaks. They all ran fine. Okay, well, that's pretty well it. Everything ran good. The fuel was fine. Reset the governor, make sure that it was in spec. Reset my advance, make sure it was in spec. Put the metal blades in it, so that should last a little longer for him. Everything shut off good, so I'm happy with it. I don't think he'll have any issues with anything on his engine. Hopefully not. Hopefully that once he gets it put on there, that it'll run fine. You will see this pump up at the front counter. We are back up here at the front counter. I rebuilt the pump. Like I said, don't have the pump here, but you got the gist. Didn't really see anything specific to it not running. It had some wear items, you know, the weights were worn out, stuff like that. Normal wear parts. So that's nothing too unusual, but for the issues that he's having, I'm suspecting that he has other issues down the road, so that he's going to try and have to diagnose on his own. For the rebuild of the pump, I had, between parts and labor, I had $8.57 and 70 cents in the pump. And for the injectors, tore them down, cleaned them up, did our work on the tips and everything, got them popped off and set for the right pressure. We had $1.83 and 45 cents in those. So overall, you're looking between pump and injectors, just a little over $1,000 for both sets. And now, since we are sending those back his way, this is the first time that we have done anything for the wonderful Scratch Fab channel. He got some of our swag, and of course, he got our wonderful plaque here. So he's now one of us and goes along with the group of all of our other collaborators. That's headed his way. Hopefully it'll work for him. If you have your own problems and need to contact us, our number is 1-800-637-2658. And you can always go on to ariediesel.com, and we have a live chat channel on there. So if you guys have any problems, send them our way.